The whisper in the shadows, the hidden truth about the Jersey Devil that no one has dared to tell. The scream in the darkness, the night of January 9th, 1909, began like any other in the small village of Leeds Point. Winter punished the residents of Pine Barrens, New Jersey, with its cutting wind that seemed to carry ancestral voices. It was then that Ezekiel Thompson, a respected hunter in the region, heard a scream that did not belong to this world. It was neither human nor animal. It was something between the two worlds, Thompson declared in his diary found decades later. It had the agony of a tortured soul and the fury of a freed demon. What Thompson witnessed that night would become just another chapter in the long saga of the being known as the Jersey Devil, a creature that, according to residents, has haunted the dense forests of Pine Barrens for more than 3 centuries. The birth of a nightmare. The most widespread story about the origin of the Jersey Devil dates back to 1735. Deborah Leeds, locally known as Mother Leeds, was giving birth to her 13th child during a particularly violent storm. Exhausted and desperate after raising 12 children in precarious conditions, she reportedly cried out, "Let this be the devil's child." The moment the child was born, something inexplicable happened. The newborn, apparently normal in the first moments, underwent a grotesque transformation before those present. Its head elongated like that of a horse, bat wings sprouted from its back, and its feet transformed into pointed hooves. With a deafening scream, the creature attacked those present, flew up the chimney, and disappeared into the darkness of the Pine Barrens forests. The Leeds, a family surrounded by mystery's historical records, confirm the existence of the Leeds family in the region. Daniel Leeds, patriarch of the family, was a controversial man. He published the first New Jersey Almanac in 1687, a work that contained occultist symbols and texts considered blasphemous by local Puritans. Daniel's proximity to colonial Governor Lord Cornbury, known for his own scandals, fueled rumors of pagan practices. Documents from the time show that the Leeds were progressively isolated by the community, living on the edge of civilization. The family inhabited a frontier, not only geographical, but spiritual, explains historian Margaret Winters from Princeton University. They were at the boundary between the civilized world and something wilder, older, a creature beyond imagination. What makes the Jersey Devil so fascinating and terrifying is its consistent description over centuries. Witnesses separated by generations describe surprisingly similar characteristics. Height between 5'10" and 6'9", biform body with features of various animals, elongated head similar to that of a horse or goat, membranous wings like those of a bat, hind legs ending in hooves, hypnotic red eyes that glow like embers in the dark, piercing scream capable of paralyzing with fear those who hear it. In 1820, farmer Joseph Macready reported losing dozens of sheep to a winged creature that left impossible to identify footprints. In 1899, hunters found animal carcasses arranged in circular patterns in the depths of the forest, with marks from unknown claws. The pattern of appearances when analyzing more than 2,000 reports of sightings over 3 centuries, a disturbing pattern emerges. The creature seems more active in cycles of approximately 33 years, with bursts of appearances concentrated in 18-month windows. Periods of intense activity have been documented in 1765 to 1766 and 1999 to 2001. This pattern cannot be mere coincidence, states Dr. Robert Marston, a cryptozoologist who has dedicated 30 years to studying the phenomenon. Whatever the explanation, there is a periodicity that suggests a phenomenon governed by its own rules. When legend meets modernity, the year 1909 marks a turning point in the history of the Jersey Devil. Between January 16th and 23, what would become known as the Week of Terror occurred. More than 1,000 people in 30 different towns reported encounters with the creature. Merchant James Wilson described to police seeing a winged figure flying over the train tracks in Haddonfield. The same night, farmer William Haynes claimed that his horses were panicking because of a creature half man, half beast that was watching the barn. Newspapers of the time, initially skeptical, began to report the events when respected figures such as Bristol School Principal U. Minister reported encounters. The Philadelphia Bulletin published on the front page, "Strange creature flies over Delaware Valley." The collective hysteria led armed groups to organize to hunt the creature. Congress even debated sending federal investigators, a proposal that was eventually rejected after political pressure. The Jean Beaumont case, one of the most disturbing accounts, came from Jean Beaumont, a French teacher visiting relatives in Killingswood in 1927. In her diary, Beaumont describes an encounter on the shores of Lake Haddon. "I was photographing the sunset when I noticed an abnormal silence. No bird, no insect made a sound. That's when I saw its reflection in the water, before I noticed its presence behind me. The creature had deeply human eyes and a face that was not of this world. It showed no aggression, only an ancient curiosity. I spoke to it in French, then in English. It seemed to understand, but did not respond. After a few minutes, it beat its wings and disappeared among the trees." Beaumont's camera was found weeks later when she had already returned to France. The developed film showed only smudges and distortions, except for a partial image that forensic photography specialists from Columbia University would describe decades later as anatomically inconsistent with any known species. The scientific theories and the inexplicable. Over the years, scientists have proposed various explanations for the phenomenon. 1. The relic species hypothesis. Some biologists have suggested that the Jersey Devil could be an unknown species that survived in isolation in the dense forests of Pine Barrens. Dr. Eliza Montgomery, a zoologist from Rutgers University, proposes that it could be divergent evolutionary descendant of pterosaurs that found refuge in this unique ecosystem. The problem with this theory is explaining how a viable population could maintain itself without being definitively discovered, as well as the absence of fossils or other conclusive physical vestiges. 2. The environmental contamination theory. Pine Barrens has a history of mining and smelting industries that left toxic legacies. Dr. Alan Peterson, an environmental toxicologist, suggests that specific combinations of contaminants could cause shared hallucinations or distorted perceptions in exposed communities. This theory, however, does not explain reports predating the industrialization of the area or the consistency of descriptions over centuries. 3. The psychosocial phenomenon. Psychologist Dr. Sarah Jenkins argues that the Jersey Devil represents a collective archetype of the unknown, manifested as a creature that incorporates the fears of each era. She points out that outbreaks of sightings frequently coincide with periods of social tension or significant changes in the community. This approach explains the persistence of the legend, but not the sightings by people with no prior knowledge of the folklore or the physical vestiges occasionally found. 4. The interdimensional hypothesis. More controversial, this theory proposed by theoretical physicist Dr. Vincent Schaefer suggests that certain areas, such as Pine Barrens, may present thin barriers between parallel dimensions. According to Schaefer, the creature may not be native to our plane of existence, appearing only when certain conditions allow transition between worlds. Although speculative, this theory would explain the cyclical pattern of appearances and the creature's ability to appear and disappear without leaving consistent traces. The guardians of the secret. Less known is the existence of a group that calls itself the Guardians of Leeds, formed by descendants of the original families of Pine Barrens. The group maintains detailed records of sightings and supposedly protects locations considered portals. Elizabeth Soames. An anthropologist who managed to interview members of the group in 1976 reported they don't see the Jersey Devil as a threat, but as an ancestral guardian of the region. They believe that the creature protects secrets buried in the forests that should not be disturbed. The Guardians maintain a rich oral tradition with details about the creature, including abilities never mentioned in public reports, such as the ability to influence local weather and communicate telepathically with certain chosen individuals. The lost manuscript in 1998, a fire at the historic Burlington Library destroyed what would be the most intriguing evidence related to the Jersey Devil. The manuscript, known as the Leeds Codex, supposedly written by Daniel Leeds himself. The document contained detailed illustrations of the creature and rituals for communication with it. Only 3 people had studied the manuscript before its destruction. One of them, linguist Dr. Howard Price, described pages written in a language that combined archaic English with unknown symbols that do not correspond to any cataloged alphabet. The modern encounters between 1999 and 2001, coinciding with the predicted cycle, more than 400 sightings were recorded. The difference is that this time, the digital era allowed unprecedented documentation. The most notable case involved 4 college students camping in October 2000. Their 47-second video shows a winged figure moving between trees. Forensic analysis confirmed that the video was not manipulated, although the image quality is insufficient for conclusive identification. In 2001, Forest Ranger Thomas Wilson found a series of inexplicable footprints that began and ended abruptly, as if the creature had appeared and disappeared into thin air. Molds of the footprints revealed an unknown anatomy, with characteristics of ungulates, but with structural anomalies. The institutional silence. Intriguingly, documents obtained through the Freedom of Information Act reveal that government agencies secretly collected data on the phenomenon. A partially censored memo from DARPA Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency from 1970 mentions the lead subject as potentially relevant to research in extreme adaptive biology. In 2007, a former Forest Service employee anonymously revealed the existence of an unofficial protocol for sightings of the Jersey Devil, including instructions for redirecting reports to a specific telephone line that does not appear in official records. The cultural legacy and the future of the legend, the Jersey Devil, has transcended the status of mere local legend to become a cultural icon. It is the unofficial mascot of sports teams, the theme of annual festivals, and a symbol of regional identity. Paradoxically, this commercialization may have diluted the deeper aspect of the legend. The true meaning of the Jersey Devil is being lost, laments Richard Leeds, a distant descendant of the original family. It's not just a scary creature from campfire stories. It represents our complex relationship with the unknown, with the wilderness that once dominated everything. Recent studies of forest ecology reveal that Pine Barrens is among the rarest and most biologically diverse ecosystems in the Northeast. Its unique combination of geological, hydrological, and botanical conditions creates microenvironments that still surprise scientists. If there is a place on the East Coast that could hide biological secrets, it would be Pine Barrens, states biologist Dr. Marcus Elliott. We are constantly discovering new species in this ecosystem, though obviously nothing remotely resembling the Jersey Devil. The next cycle, if the historical pattern holds, the next cycle of significant appearances should occur between 2032 and 2034. With advanced surveillance technologies, omnipresent cameras, and enhanced analysis capabilities, will it be the definitive opportunity to document the phenomenon? Or perhaps, as folklorist Dr. Rebecca Sanders suggests, the true nature of the Jersey Devil is to adapt to the expectations and technological capabilities of each era. When we have drones, thermal sensors, and recognition AI in every corner of Pine Barrens, the creature will find new frontiers between the seen and unseen to inhabit the persistent whisper. At nightfall in Leeds Point today, it is still possible to feel something ancestral in the air. The whisper of the pines carries stories older than the nation. For many residents, the Jersey Devil is not a matter of belief or disbelief, but a presence as natural as the seasons. As Hannah Morris, a 94-year-old resident interviewed in 2018, said, "Some people see only trees when they look at Pine Barrens. Others see living history breathing between them. The devil is there, always has been, not as a monster, but as a reminder that this place was never truly conquered." Perhaps the true meaning of this centuries-old legend is precisely this. In an increasingly mapped, monitored, and explained world, the Jersey Devil represents the last refuge of authentic mystery, the insistent whisper of the unknown that refuses to be completely silenced by modern rationality. And as long as the ancient forests of Pine Barrens remain standing, that whisper in the shadows will persist, challenging us to question the limits of our understanding of the world.